Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gitte Marie and we are making some awesome dishes now. It has been requested that I show easier recipes, so that is sort of the mindset with which we will be going into this video. The hill I'm willing to die on is the fact that soups are a waste of time. However, there are exceptions, some of which we will be going over in this video. These are some of my favorite autumn dishes, but before we get into them, this video is sponsored. This video is sponsored by Skillshare, and specifically these courses that I've been really inspired by about eating seasonally and foraging. If you're completely new to this way of eating or foraging in your local environment, in your local climate, this is absolutely the place to be. If you want to eat more sustainably, eating things that are currently and seasonally available to you is a really good step. Skillshare also has some exciting improvements with smarter class categories and even some new categories like creative careers and creative inspiration. And the first 500 people to use the link in my description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. If you want to try it out, this is your time to do so. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video. Now let's get into the recipes. And the first dish we're making is a curry soup. Now, I've said many times on this platform that I don't actually like soups. I think I've said, and I still mean that, by the way, that soups make me sad. There is a thing about wasting a dinner on a soup, especially like loads of different types of soup, just makes me so sad that I wasted a dinner on this soup. I know that is a controversial opinion because we're entering autumn, it's soup girl season, I know. Now, I have a few exceptions to this completely irrational feeling of mine, and that's a ramen. Love that. Any kind of dumpling soup as well, love that. And a curry soup. I love this curry soup for a few different reasons. The main one being that I can use everything in my fridge that would otherwise end up being like small leftovers and scraps here and there. You can use your onions, garlic, you can use your leek, you can use carrots, you can use potatoes. Any kind of vegetables that you have lying around. You can also put in pumpkin. That would also make it really seasonal. It is such a good anti-food waste hack to have a good go-to soup recipe where you can use all of these things. So today we're making mine, and it's curry themed because I love curry. Now, I love more authentic Indian cuisine. This is going to be a very Danish adaptation of the understanding of curry, and I'm well aware of that fact, but it has this sort of nostalgic feeling to me. And we're off. I start by preparing all the vegetables I need, so all the chopping and peeling is done before I really begin cooking. This makes my cooking routine feel a lot more organized and easy to do. The kitchen counter isn't cluttered with stuff, and it just makes for a much less stressful meal preparation. If you feel like cooking takes it out of you, I really recommend doing a chef-like ingredients prep. It makes a world of a difference. Anyway, also save the veggie scraps to use for a broth later. I store mine in the freezer and take it out once my container is full. You simply just boil the scraps until you have a rich broth. It's amazing in gravy and soups and sauces. So, once all the food prep is done, I start by sauteing my onions and leek in olive oil. Let the veg brown a little bit, and when the onions are translucent, you can add your water and green lentils. This is also where I add my curry. I recently found these Japanese curry cubes in an anti-food waste supermarket, so I'm using these. You can also use paste and powdered curry if you have that. This comes with a lot of packaging I normally wouldn't go for, but when it would otherwise have been thrown out, I'm more forgiving when it comes to stuff like this. The soup base now has to simmer on medium heat for at least 15 minutes. Stir occasionally, and once the lentils are soft, you're ready to move on. This is an optional step. It just makes or breaks the soup in my opinion. But I'm taking a submergent blender to even out the soup. We will add potatoes and carrots after this, but I really like the lentil-based part to be more smooth-ish. Lumps are okay, but this hides a lot of the vegetables, and a lot of people don't like lentils a whole lot, which makes this easier to serve. Also hidden protein, because lentils are packed. Now we're adding the rest of the veg and coconut milk. Then the soup has to simmer again until the potatoes are cooked through. You can also add additional chili. I did that because I like it spicy. I'm also adding the rest of my spices like curry, salt, pepper, and whatever you prefer, tasting it along the way to find that balance. And that is it, you're done. I finished my soup off with some chopped spring onions, some chili oil, and a little bit more coconut milk to make it look nice. This is indeed a soup that doesn't make me sad, nor is it a waste of dinner. After making this, I had this for lunch for 3 days straight, and I didn't grow tired of it. And if that's not a stamp of approval, I don't know what is. I also had some leftover rice in my fridge, so I heated those up as well and had those as a side. Is it a tad a hat on a hat when there's also potato in the soup? Maybe, but I was full and I was happy. Okay, moving on to the next dish. The next dish we're making is not necessarily only an autumn dish. It's something that I've made many times throughout the year, but it's just so much more satisfying when the weather starts to feel a little bit more cold out, and it's just filling and comfortable and warm. Now, in this dish, you can add mushrooms. I actually think, because right now they're in season, that you should. Absolutely 100% recommend. I wouldn't call this a vegan or plant-based beef bourguignon. You could. It's what it's inspired by. Maybe a more accurate description would be to call this a stew. This is such a banger and it's an absolute crowd pleaser. I really recommend making this, especially so if people are a little bit skeptic about vegan or vegetarian food actually being filling, because this is one of the sturdiest, heaviest dishes that I know how to make, and it's so freaking good. So let's make this. So once again, we start by preparing ingredients. Shallots and potatoes mainly for starters. The potatoes are chopped up and set aside to boil because we're making them into a mash, so don't add salt to the water. And the onions go in a hot pan with some olive oil. Now I'm pulling out my plant-based meat. I use this Danish brand Naturli. This is a beef-like minced meat, and if you have a similar thing, use that. Otherwise, grilled firm tofu or soy or pea granulate can work as well. If you have the option to use something like this, I think it makes the dish a whole lot better. Then our carrots go in because we want them nice and tender, and then a trick. Okay, so additionally, you can add bouillon or stock. I also like to use gravy powder. This makes a massive difference, but take it or leave it. I really prefer it. Once the carrots are tender, add in frozen peas, and then it's time to get started on the mash. I use plant-based butter to combine the mash along with nutmeg and freshly ground pepper and salt at this point. And this part is entirely optional, but I run my mash through a sieve to remove any lumps. It's important to not overwork the potatoes because otherwise they get this consistency that can be sticky and not really fluffy. So I say mash them less and sieve them, then we don't risk the stickiness. Look at this beautiful difference. I hope you're convinced. When it comes to plating this dish, there isn't really a super pretty way of doing it, but also it doesn't really have to be pretty, I feel like. This is a sturdy meal, and it's okay that it looks a little bit more rustic. I don't know if I'm telling you guys or myself at this point. I think this is mostly for me, I don't know. Add some finely chopped chives on the top and look at that. If you don't want to sink your teeth into this, I don't know what's up. I have served this for people that are pretty skeptic about plant-based dishes and definitely thinks that a veggie meal can't keep them full, and they have all had to admit that this dish beats them. Let me know if you make this and what reactions you get from it. And the last dish I want to make is one of my absolute favorites. It's so absolutely versatile. And maybe this is something that intimidates you because of the folding techniques. It really shouldn't. There are so many easy ways of doing this, and practice also absolutely makes perfect. I like to use dumplings just as is, which is how we're gonna serve them primarily in this video. I love just dumplings with a spicy chili oil. And that's it, just like simplicity is key. But you can also food prep them and then freeze them down and add them to your noodle soups whenever you're having any kind of soup or noodle dish. Food prepping these and freezing them down is just an absolute life hack, and it's so tasty. So obviously we're also making dumplings. Okay, let's go. I did promise you easy recipes, so now we're taking shortcuts. Throw all your veggies in a food processor. I'm using leek and carrot, garlic, onion and spring onion, and the last bit of chives from the previous recipe. And give them a proper blend. Easy, mess-free food prep. Now here's another tip. Put your ginger in the freezer. I keep it there because otherwise it goes bad before I can use all of it. This way I manage to use everything. Then I scrape off the peel where I want to use it with a knife and put it back in the freezer once I'm done using it. For this dish we are using soft tofu. Not silken tofu specifically, but soft. It goes in the food processor as well. Once everything is well combined, and mind you, it doesn't have to be a smooth paste. I actually prefer it not to be. Then you transfer it to a pot on medium heat with some sesame seed oil and cook most of the water out of it. This takes around 10 minutes, and then you're left with a more concentrated and flavorful filling, which you will have to let cool completely before moving on. This can be made the day before if you fancy as well. Now, easy recipes do not involve making gyoza skins from scratch. However, I would like to say it's really not that difficult. It's a basic dough with flour, water and salt that you then knead until smooth, and then you roll out the skins. You can also buy gyoza skins pre-made. In my experience, the pre-made skins need a tad bit longer in the steamer, so do be aware of that. But either way, it's fine. Perhaps it feels intimidating and not something you would have to do in an easy recipe, but just stay with me here. Wet the edges of the dough, place the filling in the middle and close like a half moon. Then pinch the middle of the top and work your way down on one side and then on the other. It doesn't have to be perfect. It likely won't be on the first try, but it will get better. I still have some technique to nail down, but I keep learning. Place your dumplings in the steamer, then place the steamer into a pot with a few inches of close to boiling water and close the lid. This will take a few minutes and then they're ready to serve. I am serving mine with a simple and easy chili oil using soy sauce, sesame seed oil and garlic/chili paste. Mix that together and drench the dumplings thoroughly. I also added black sesame seeds and chopped spring onions on top for presentation vibes as well as for flavor, and that is it. I recommend making a ton of these for autumn and freezing them so you always have an easy meal on hand. You can serve them like this or add a couple to your soup. And these were my 3 favorite easy autumn dishes. Now try saying that 3 times quickly. Ending this video on a banger here. Let me know in the comments which dish you prefer and what your go-to recipes are for this season. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green, zero-waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!